Hi, grade 7, Mrs. Smith's class. I hear you have been talking about Purgatory a little bit, and there was some confusion about that. So I thought I'd give you a little story that I told the confirmation class just last weekend, actually, to try to get a better understanding of what Purgatory is, why it's useful, and kind of the meaning behind it. So you've all heard of heaven, obviously, and you've probably heard of hell. And so Purgatory is a place of preparation. It's a place of cleansing. It's kind of a complicated idea that I think can be best explained with a little story, with a little imagination. So I want you to imagine you're sitting here in class, and it had rained last night, so pretty heavily. But we decide for class today we're going to go outside and play kickball in the field. And we have a great game. Everyone's having a good time. But, as kickball games go, some of you slid into first base and fell out in the field. And so we just covered head to toe with mud. Mud on our hands, mud on our face, our clothes. But, it was a pretty good day. And so while we're out there, we notice a couple of big black SUVs drive up to the parish hall and park right in front of the parish hall, like in order. And Father Healy comes out and says, "I didn't tell you, but we have a surprise today." And he says, "The Pope's here. He's here to meet all of you. And he's in the parish hall now, and we're going to go in and he's going to greet us. We're going to go greet the Pope." And so we're all excited. I know I'd be. I've never met the Pope. Of course, it's someone very important in our faith life. And so what an opportunity, to go meet the Pope. So I'm really excited. It's something that I hadn't known was going to happen. So I'm just beside myself excited. But then I look down, and I'm looking at my hands, and I'm noticing the dirt, and we look at each other and notice our faces are covered in mud and our clothes are dirty, but our hands and our face in particular are covered in dirt. So as we start to go into the hall, I'm feeling anxious. I don't want the first time the Pope, maybe my only time meeting the Pope, for him to have that impression of me. I want him to see me clean and, looking presentable. So I'm a little anxious about that. I don't want to go in and have the Pope, shake my hands and they're full of mud. So I might say, hang on, I think I'd like to go to the bathroom first and wash up. And so everyone around me, yeah, I need to go in the bathroom first to wash up. So we go into the bathroom, and it's taking a while because there's so many of us in there. So, but in the meantime, I know what's in the hall. So I'm really excited, but I'm kind of annoyed that it's difficult to wait for something you're really excited about. So it's a little bit difficult being in the bathroom waiting to get myself clean enough to feel like I can go see the Pope. Meanwhile, the Pope's in there, and, he really could care less that I have mud over my hands. He's here to see us. He loves us as our Holy Father. So he's not going to care. He knows we were out there playing kickball. He loves us just as we are. So he's not here, looking for us to be fancy. And he just came to love us and say hi. So it wouldn't matter to him that we come to him, a little dirty. But for me, I know I want to feel good about being in front of the Pope because he's so important. And I want him to see me at my best. I don't want to have him see me, muddy and dirty. So I'm in the bathroom cleaning up. And whatever time that takes, it's delaying me from this exciting event of seeing the Pope. But I know that's where I'm going. I'm not too anxious about being in the bathroom because I know the next step is walking out of the bathroom and into the hall and going to see the Pope and meeting the Pope, and what an amazing event that will be. That's kind of Purgatory. That's kind of what Purgatory is like. On this earth, we don't know when our last day will be. Most of us have no idea the moment that we'll die. Some people, it's an accident. Some people, it could be some misfortune. There are people, however, that maybe they've been diagnosed with a cancer, an illness, and they know they've been given a certain amount of time, For those people, oftentimes what they do is they try to get themselves right with God, right? Maybe they go to confession. Maybe they try to resolve issues that maybe they have not forgiven people, or maybe they've wronged someone. So a lot of times you'll find that people who know, they're very ill, know that their death is approaching, they try to resolve all of those things while they have time. And for many of them, they're able to do that and then, pass very peacefully. And for those people, if they've made things right and they don't have any of these lingering problems, lingering anger and hate, issues, then when they do die, they're excited, they're clean, they're ready to go to heaven. They're ready to go see God in all his glory. Most of us, however, death comes unexpectedly. And so oftentimes as human beings, we think, well, we have time. We'll make things right later. We'll say I'm sorry later. We'll, go to confession later. We'll fix our lives later. And sometimes later doesn't come. And so we have these unresolved issues. And we're, going to go see God. And so we can't bring, unresolved issues to heaven. Heaven's perfect. It's perfect happiness, perfect joy, perfect everything. And so if we've left this world, either still clinging to some of our sin, feeling guilty about some of our sin because we hadn't had a chance to, go to confession or make things right here. Purgatory is a time and a place to do that. And it's not hell. And it's kind of a stage to prepare you for heaven. And when you're in purgatory, you know that once you kind of resolve these issues and clean yourself up, like we were talking about with the kickball game, your next step is heaven. You're going to heaven. But you're using that time to resolve whatever you took with you from this life that you didn't resolve here. If you had bitterness, anger, maybe there were some things you hurt people and you didn't really have an opportunity to fully make right. Purgatory is that time to do so before going to heaven, because again, heaven's perfect. And while God is ready to take us because he loves us unconditionally, we have an awareness of our wrongdoings and our unresolved issues. And so we can't bring those to heaven. We don't want to. We want to go and see God face to face with none of that on our hearts, on our minds, no guilt. And so purgatory is the time and the place to resolve that. We're told by a couple of saints that have had these mystical meaning miraculous events that we really can't explain, but some saints have had these mystical experiences where in prayer and in awakeness, they've had these experiences with Jesus or with Mary. And some of these saints have been given the gift to witness purgatory, witness heaven, witness hell, to share that information with us. And some of the things that were mentioned about purgatory is that there's a great number of people there who need prayer to speed up the process. And so when a loved one that we know dies, it's right and just and important to pray for them. Because we don't know. We don't know if they needed to go to the cleanup room first or if they went straight to heaven. But regardless, it's important to pray for them. And we can pray for the souls in purgatory to kind of speed things up, because we're told that in that place, in that time, we're not really able to pray for ourselves at that time. We rely on the prayers of others, the saints in heaven, and then those of us on earth, because we're all a community of saints. We're all a community. And so it's really important to pray for the souls in purgatory. And I want you to imagine someone who left this world that didn't have family left or friends left to pray for them. And so they are in particular need of our prayers. And so sometimes take some opportunities to say prayers and say, God, I'm giving you this prayer for a soul in purgatory. I don't know their name. I don't know who needs it, but you do. And he certainly does. And he will apply that prayer towards we call them the poor souls of purgatory, someone that may not have anyone to pray for them. And in turn, when they come and release from purgatory and get to heaven, they know of our prayers, and in turn they'll pray for us while we're here on earth, and vice versa. So it's kind of a nice relationship there. So that's kind of the idea of purgatory. It's again, it's our belief and faith that, in preparation for heaven, we want to rid ourselves of anything that could be keeping us from being fully ready to embrace God's amazing unconditional love. And we don't want to have any guilt or anything holding us back. Just like if I went in full of mud all over my hands and I went to meet the Pope, I might not want to shake hands. I might kind of hold back. And we don't want to hold anything back in heaven. And so that's kind of a way to think about purgatory. So hopefully that helps with this. And again, I hope you leave with the understanding that it's really important for us to pray, for those souls in purgatory, either our own loved ones that have died, or even, more also important is anyone who doesn't have anyone to pray for them. And so they rely on our prayers to help them in this journey to kind of speed things along and to fully be prepared to go see God, our loving Father, who loves us unconditionally. All right, hope this helps. Good work. Keep up the good work.